And then other days it's full day facilitation in front of a room working through business planning or designing strategy through process facilitation. It's funny, no one day ever looks the same at work.
Let's roll it again. Okay, tell us a bit about your role at Bendelta.
So I would probably explain my role at Bendelta in 3 spheres.
We have delivery, which in that case is a lot of work or responsibilities around facilitation.
It's very client facing, on the ground. Typically that's about delivering training, learning and development initiatives, and so forth. Then I would say design work, which is the design work that sits kind of, yes, you're client facing, but whether it's through co-design sessions or collaboration, but you're kind of designing solutions, strategies
or processes that really enable the client, enable the environment, or enable the outcome you're trying to achieve. So for example, we are currently designing a culture strategy piece to kind of enable or inform a roadmap that's going to hopefully help shift the organisation's culture at the minute. So it's a lot of change management.
I particularly love that. So I spend a lot of the time doing the data analysis, the insights, kind of turning that into reports with a series of recommendations that come out of it. And typically the work that I love to do is in the culture space, strategy, org design, and then obviously flex into leadership development where I can. Same with coaching and a little bit of like top team development and kind of business planning and strategic thinking. So yeah, my responsibilities are broad. It's a lot of supporting my team, supporting clients. It's a lot of managing client expectations, but it's also the people side of the job, and that's having those conversations, having interviews, and kind of translating all of that gold into actual insights, the so what, and then we can turn it into recommendations, papers, training design, and so forth out of it.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. With consultancies, it can be a little like too broad. Like you have to.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff involved with consultancy. That's not just one thing. There's also just one question that I wanted to ask. This data analysis, what kind of, maybe it's just not part of the interview, but I'm just having a conversation. Is it like a very stats based? What kind of stuff do you do with the data analysis?
Yes. So I like qual analysis.
Okay.
So typically, and what I'm finding so much like so far at Bendelta is most of the analysis we do is qualitative analysis. And it's through focus groups, interviews, even like engagement data, looking at the qual comments, exit interview data. So all these kind of different data sources that we will use and kind of triangulate to inform our design of whatever the next phase is. Yeah, so forth.
When did you first know you wanted to work in organizational psychology?
Yeah, random. Probably my interview with Ben Searle, starting my the very first interview process to get into organisational psych. I always thought I wanted to do ed dev with a real passion for that area. And then I was just in my conversation or my interview with Ben, it's meant to go for I think 30 minutes, ended up going for like 45 or 50. And we just spoke about the impact that I was really after and what I wanted to do in my role as a psychologist moving forward, and where I kind of saw I could add the most value, I guess. And so, you know, I'm really interested, or how I think through things is connecting dots across systems and enabling environments, and what can I do to shift the environment to allow more people or all people to thrive, rather than just working on with the one-on-one basis. Probably where my strengths lie more. So just in that conversation with Ben, I was like, oh my gosh, I had my aha moment and thought, oh, I think org psych is it. And then off and running, and I have not looked back since.
Next question. Tell us about your journey to the current job.
Yes, I think it's nothing crazy about the journey. I did my undergrad into my 4th year, rolled straight into masters from there. I completed 4 placements during my time as well, and definitely did a range of placements. So for someone that probably didn't have the business acumen or the business experience as much as I would have hoped, or as much as my peers even in my that went through masters with me, I kind of had to craft, I suppose, the best journey for me, and what's the best opportunities look like for me to just kind of blossom, I suppose. And so I did an internal placement first at Macquarie University, kind of around career pathways, and then I did a second one, which was a training kind of design program for a pilot assistance network, which is funded by several airlines, and it's just a support system for their pilots. And my supervisor at the time was a clinical psychologist, so it was a really different lens to org psych. It was fascinating. Then my third one was with Maximize, which was a startup company. Went in there thinking I was going to spend time designing wellbeing modules for young people, and while I did a little bit of that, I spent a lot of time kind of doing marketing and business development and like financial acumen and just kind of like commerciality and what we're trying to do and strategic thinking and where are we going and business planning. So I definitely had exposure to the business element of org psych, which probably accelerated my ability to now go into workplaces and understand quite quickly what is happening in the landscape. And then my fourth one was at CBA. I finally got the courage to do it, and it was 8 weeks. It was 8 weeks intensive, 4 days a week, and it was their first one in their people team, and it was just an incredible experience that really set me up from a corporate lens, but also showed the balance between corporate but also putting people first, and what does that mean, how org psych can really operate in a highly regulated like safety first, risk adverse culture. So yeah, fascinating one.
Story behind how you landed this job at Bendelta.
Yeah, so I was talking to Narelle and had a really keen interest in, besides young people, sport was a big thing for me. And I would love to work on sport projects with sports organisations or government bodies. There was no kind of parameters around what sport I wanted to work with. I just had a really keen interest in continuing my experience in that industry and developing muscle and opportunity and finding experiences in there and so forth. And so I was speaking to Narelle and was kind of like, hey, where do I go? Like, if this is what I know I want to do and want to explore more of, where do I look? I actually had no idea, and I'd only heard whispers of Bendelta at this point in time. So a couple of peers of mine had done placements, and a friend from the cohort above me had done a placement there, and he raved about it, said, it was by far his most favourite placement. And he said to me that they often do some work in the sports industries, and across a multitude of sport, not just one particular one. And I said, oh, that's really interesting, quite fascinating. So I was talking to Narelle about is Bendelta an option? How do I even kind of go about that opportunity? Do I reach out to them? What do I do? And then maybe 2 weeks later, up popped on the Macquarie iLearn page, and it said, a Bendelta grad program. I put the application in. The application kind of made it to the next phase, and it was awesome. I met with Libby Golland, who also, who is has a strong relationship with Macquarie, and does some supervision here and there for different students, and they do a lot of placements through Bendelta and so forth. We have a really good relationship there. So I met with a few representatives at Macquarie. I had 3 interviews. I had one which was just kind of a get to know you interview, one-on-one. Then I had a behavioural interview. So there was 5 questions. They asked, what would you do in situation X? How would you respond to situation Y? And so it was 5 to 6 questions, a behavioural interview. And then it was a 1.5 hour simulation interview. And so the first 40 minutes is part 1, and it's one scenario, and you kind of follow the simulation brief and you work through that. And then the second part is kind of a demonstration of skills that you have in a particular area. And so you get a second brief, you have to kind of demonstrate your skills in that area and how you would approach it.
And that was with a range of Bendeltans in that third interview, which is quite daunting in the moment, but they definitely made me feel just so comfortable and supported through the whole experience. And then off the back of that, I got offered the grad program position, and I've been at Bendelta ever since. And now I transitioned out of the grad program to be a consultant, and I'm now a senior consultant.
What's something you absolutely love about working in OxSec?
I think I've touched on it so far, but there's probably two pieces. One is that the breadth of work that we can do means that we can flex into different industries and different projects and different type of work with a skill set that's quite niche, that allows us to go for depth in those areas too. For example, I'm working on a culture project at the moment, and we're designing, a target culture and roadmap for an organisation. And what is so interesting or powerful, or what I'm finding, is that I'm able to apply all the change management skills and frameworks that we spend so long learning about in Masters. I'm applying them every single day to be able to design a target culture, or co-design, I should say, a target culture and a roadmap that is really going to land for the different job families in the business. And I don't think I would have been able to do that if I didn't have the kind of knowledge and skills that allows me to better understand human behavior and human potential. So I would say that's like the biggest thing, is the breadth and then the ability to go deep. And then the second piece is just, I think it sets you up so well to have best practice and rigor in your thinking, that you're naturally kind of always anchored to research, or having a curious mindset when things maybe don't seem anchored to research. And I think that's really important here, because then you're able to actually challenge in work and come up with innovative solutions that are robust, that are grounded in research, so they're evidence-based, that are informed and considerate, that are people first and people led, because you're actually looking about changing behavior in meaningful ways, rather than coming in with like hero moves that you've dreamt up in big thinking approaches and initiatives instead. So I think they're the two pieces for me.
What is your best career advice for current psychology students?
My first one is to be brave in the work that you do and the work that you choose to do. So things that might feel a little bit to the left, or a bit of a stretch, or maybe just beyond your grasp, I think if you're set up with the right support around you, you need to lean into those experiences and be brave in what you do in them. That doesn't necessarily, mean to do something wacky and crazy in that and kind of blow it up on day one, but it just means to see something there, and if you want to go for it and be brave in doing that, and then just ensure that you're setting yourself up for success while you're on that journey, because it will be tough and it will be hard. But the second one is to also give yourself second chances. So often we think we have to get it right the very first time, and that's not necessarily the case. So be kind to yourself and give yourself that second chance when you need it.